Hi, I'm Jacob with Rogers Athletic, and today we'll be changing a cable on our high-low power stack. Here are the tools you'll be needing for the job. Fairly basic hand tools, assortment of wrenches, 3/4, 2 5/8, 2 9/16, 7/16. You can also use an impact gun with a 9/16 socket. The other piece you'll need is our new cable kit. We'll insert the part number here. Okay, our first step will be removing this lower footrest. This is where our 9/16 will come into play. Okay, our next step will be to remove this pulley here. So this is our 5/8. We'll also want to remove any attachments on your cable. And then we'll want to remove this upper bracket for the cable trolley next. This is a 9/16. So the next step we want to do is helps to have a table or platform fairly close to the unit. Now we'll lift this up and rest this on our platform. All right, our next step will be to remove the lower cable from the adjuster nut. So you'll push the cable up and there's a jam nut. So we'll need a 3/4 inch wrench and your 7/16 will break the jam nut free, and then we can spin off the adjuster nut. We'll also want to remove the jam nut that is behind it. Okay, our next step will be to remove the bolt from this pulley in this position. When we remove that bolt, we're not going to take the pulley out, but let the pulley rest down and it can't fall out, but we'll need that clearance to remove the cable. So again, this is 2 5/8 wrenches. There we go. All right, we have 2 more pulleys that we need to remove before we can remove the old cable. So this lower pulley here, again, this is your 2 5/8 bolts. And then also the pulley on the top of the stack. Okay, now we're ready to actually remove the cable, the old cable. So we'll start by pulling this end first. The cable is gonna pull through. You may have to guide it just gently around these upper pulleys here. And then we're going to pull the cable from the other end all the way through this piece. Okay, now we're ready to reinstall your new cable. We're going to insert the cable diagram here. All right, so we'll take the cable, we'll pass it through this cable trolley. We need to pass it up through this portion here. And then we're going to temporarily set this back on your unit in place. That'll hold that part in position. We'll need a ladder or plyo box, something to stand on. We're going to start, the cable goes over the top of this pulley and over the top of the pulley in the back and 90 degrees down. So you can see where the cable is passing through. It's coming through the big hole in the back here. And we're gonna pull all of the slack out of the cable at this point until we have the cable end visible there. We'll take the stud end of the cable Now we need to go up through this hole in this position. The cable is going to be passing up and over this pulley and back down this tube. So you'll need to guide the cable end, the stud up and over, and kind of press it down. It may pop out the front here, that's okay. So we're actually sending that down this vertical adjuster tube here. Okay, so now we fed the cable all the way back down through, and you should see the cable exit the bottom of the tube here. So we're gonna pull that forward. All right, now we need to reinstall some pulleys. So we're gonna start with this pulley in the top here. We'll take your two bolts here, find the center, insert those bolts, tighten it up. Again, this is your 5/8 size bolt. Okay, next pulley we need to reinstall will be the one at the top of the stack. We'll go ahead and tighten this one as well. Last pulley to reinstall will be your lower pulley here. So make sure to pull the cable around and guide the cable around this pulley. And tighten this one. Your next step is going to be reattaching the threaded end of your cable. So what we'll want to do is take this as we temporarily set this back on the unit, rest that on a platform. So we'll need to take your 9/16 nut and the cable adjuster nut. We'll pass the cable up through this lower portion of the machine, and we'll thread the jam nut on first, followed by the adjuster nut in this orientation. Okay, we don't need to worry about the exact adjustment position at this point. Okay, we'll pull this back down, reinstall the cable trolley. We'll put the two 3/8 bolts back in here and tighten these. Okay, our last pulley to install is on the cable trolley. We'll want to take this, make sure you guide this around your cable, and install the two fasteners for the pulley. And your 5/8 wrenches. Okay, our last step will be to adjust our cable tension. And so our goal with the cable is when you pull it, you take the slack out, that the end of the cable fitting here is positioned halfway on this pulley. So this is exactly where we want it. We'll go ahead and tighten up the jam nut. This is our 3/4 inch wrench and our 9/16 jam nut. And there you have it. We have a fresh new cable on your high-low power stack for many years to come. For any further questions, reach out to our website at rogersathletic.com.